Hello and welcome to another Photoshop tutorial. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to use the pen tool and how to cut this robot out and put him into a Skyline. Alright, first of all, the first thing you need to know about the pen tool is that the pen tool makes paths, and you can either fill these paths like it's doing now, or make a selection, or stroke. By stroke I mean it will place a line around the path as opposed to filling it in, like that. Okay. Alright, the pen tool has two modes. It's got this mode here called shape layers. This will create a shape and fill it in. Okay. And the second one is called just paths, and it will create a path with no fill, stroke or selection. Okay. As an example, I'm going to make a shape and then go around it with the pen tool and tell you what I'm doing. Okay, so we've got a simple square. Okay, so if I get the pen tool, to start my path, just simply click where you want to start your selection and then click again at the corners, and it will draw a path around the square. Now to close a path, just hover over your first anchor point and you'll get this little symbol come up next to your pen, this circle, and that just means close path, which is what we want to do. Okay, so we can hide that square and there's our path. Okay, you can edit the path. If you hold down Apple, you can edit the anchor points. Now if you want to go around objects that are more complicated like circles, you need to click to start your selection off and then click and drag to make a curve. And this does take some practice to get a hang of, but I'll show you again an example going around a shape. Just to choose a lighter colour. Okay, so there you go. Make a new layer, get the pen tool. Now we'll start here, and if we click and then drag, if we drag further up and around, it will make our line obviously more curved, less curved, further away, etc. And like I said, this does take some practice. Okay. Now Photoshop will try and automatically curve the lines for you, hopefully making it easier for you. Okay, so there we have our selection. There's a few things we can do now. If we hide this, we now have a selection. We can go to the paths section here. It's much like the layer section where it pops up as a layer. We can rename this circle, and it gives us a few options. You can either fill the circle with this button here. Sorry. You can either fill it with this one, stroke it with this, and this will make it into a selection. I'll just show you all three of those. Okay, so the first one, we'll fill it. Now fill with your foreground colour that you've chosen previously. So if we change that to red, select the path again and hit that, and it will turn it to red. If we wanted to just stroke it with a red line, we can click on the stroke button, and there it is. And now because this stroke is so small, is because our brush is set to a small size, because Photoshop strokes the path with the size you've already set your brush at. So if we set this at 90 now, which is that big, it will stroke the path with a brush that size. So if we click off that and go back a step, if we stroke it again now, we've got a bigger stroke. And if that was too big, we can reduce the stroke size, click off it and stroke it, undo and stroke it again. Okay, and finally the last one is the selection, or load path as a selection rather. And there you go. What that does, if you're working on an image like we are in a minute and you want to draw around this robot and select it, we can then click on the selection, load a selection, and it's already made us a selection then. Okay, so if I go straight onto the robot, I want to put the robot into this New York skyline. And if you Photoshop is great for this kind of thing, obviously for image manipulation. So I'm not going to go around the whole of this, but I'll go around some of it just to show you some problems that you may encounter. Okay, if I just zoom in for you. Okay, so if we start here and go round, one of the main issues you might have, say if you curve up here, and Photoshop automatically curves. Okay, but now you want to go straight, but Photoshop will automatically curve your line to try and make a smooth curve, so you'll end up with this. And obviously that's no good if we zoom in, because we've not selected this part here, we've cut that bit out and gone around here. So to get rid of this problem, when you come to a point like this where you need to delete Photoshop's auto curve, we hover over the point in the middle that you just made, hold Alt until you get the symbol that looks like a upside down V, and click on that point. Sorry. It will then delete this auto curve that Photoshop puts on, and then we can go and do a straight line. If we carry on, and see we've come to that again. If we go over to this now, it will do the same again. So we need to hold down Alt, click on the middle, click on the middle anchor point, and there we go, good to go. Okay, so once you've done this and gone around the whole of the head, it'll come up in your paths section. So I'm going to make a selection from it. So I'll select the head layer and the load as selection button, and there we go, got the selection of the robot's head. I'm going to load up the New York skyline in Photoshop. Okay, so I now want to drag the head that I've selected from this image onto the New York skyline. So I simply click on the move tool, hover over it, and you'll get a pair of scissors. Click and drag it onto your scene. Okay, and now we need the body part of this robot, so we'll do the same again. I've obviously already done it. Click on the body, the selection, and just click and drag it over. Okay, so then we can go back to our layers section and select both of those layers and transform them into a size that is suitable. Okay. So now, because I want to make it look like it's actually there and place it behind these buildings, and we momentarily hide the robot, click the head. Now I want to cut out this part of his legs so it looks like he's behind the buildings. So to do that, you get the pen tool out and go around the tops of these buildings. I'll do this quickly. Okay, if we bring him back in, that's far enough. If we make a selection all around his feet and close off the selection. And now what we've done, if we go onto our paths section and click on load path as selection, we've now selected the part we want to delete, choose the appropriate layer, which is this one, and hit delete. Okay, deselect this selection by going to select and deselect, and there we go, the robot looks like it's behind the buildings. Bring his head back in, and there you go. I hope you've enjoyed this video tutorial. If you have any questions, please comment below.